I would yell for Lena in the house.
Okay. I will come. Quickly because I'm alarmed. I don't know what's going on.
Tessian and Grail, you do hear this as well.
So
Tessian's gonna come because he needs to. He's with Lena for reasons.
Yeah.
I will trail in after, but not with as much urgency as everyone else.
And so I'm gonna walk in.
Grail's like, good.
And Rollins kind of makes to go out as well, but once you decide to go out, Grail, he kind of stays put and stays in the house.
Okay.
Seems like he thinks you're more than capable of this for the time being, obviously.
So, do I just see him writhing on the ground when I walk in?
So I say, Karash, it's my fault, really. I thought he was going to just scare the guy, and he brought his axe down on his ankle. There's a zone of truth going. We asked him questions. He just grunted in response. It didn't seem to work. And Karash cut into his ankle.
I'm standing a few feet away, just arms crossed.
And then he refused to heal him like a petulant child. And I look at him when I say it.
Okay, so I nod. I get a sense of the situation. I will go over and lay on hands on the
Lay on hands.
what do I have?
Oh,
Hold
you
on.
have healing
Cure
word,
wounds.
right?
I have cure wounds. I don't have
That's probably
lay on.
better, yeah.
She's multi-classing, everybody. I meant to tell you.
I have all the spells all the time.
She's Druid 5, Paladin 1.
And while you're doing that, I say, Tessian, what do you think? Why wouldn't the Zone of Truth work here when it worked before?
12.
Oh God, this is a prompt that might get this answer out of Tessian. Tessian walks up and inspects the guy. How's his tongue and other parts of his mouth?
Make an investigation check. How much healing?
12.
12. Okay. He was sort of flittering on the edge of consciousness because he doesn't have a whole lot of health. In theory, that could have sent him back on the brink of dying again, but we'll say that due to quick attention, it doesn't really fix the wound. It helps. It closes it, but doesn't necessarily reattach all the tendons, if that makes sense. That's a different thing. So it's still kind of not sitting right.
I don't know if I have anything
better.
for that. I don't.
Oh dear.
I have good berries.
You will eventually have something for it, but you don't
Not
yet.
I
right
don't
now.
have that right now. I could try to wrap the wound, I suppose.
You do
and
have
then-
good berries right now. You have that pouch that makes 10 of them for you a day, but those are
but
still
those
not
are
going
not
to
going
fix
to
this.
help. So maybe I can just try to wrap his ankle with like bandages or something.
That you could do.
Okay.
Maybe it'll help too.
Yeah.
The combination of physical plus magical healing
Try.
could help.
Yeah. And I'll just kind of be watching Tessian as he's investigating.
What's the result, Tessian?
7.
I mean, it's good enough to see at the very least. Tongue seems fine. Mouth seems fine. Full set of teeth, not especially well taken care of, but not in bad shape.
Could it be a language thing? He was grunting. I don't know. I thought it was weird. To be honest, I'm ready to abandon the Zone of Truth
And
attempt,
when you
but-
say that, I am going to start looking at like the gnome and waiting for him to like respond. Because I'm going to be watching him specifically for a thing.
Okay.
As you have healed him, Lena, he kind of looks in your direction since he doesn't have the blindfold on. Gives you kind of a nod. And the noise that basically comes out of him is essentially... and he kind of nods in your direction.
Okay. So
There's not like another language coming out. He's legitimately just grunting.
Okay.
He's not saying anything. Yeah, which I mean, Tessie can say, has anyone actually heard him speak a word
I
at
thought he
all?
spoke last night. I genuinely have no recollection. Wait, Lena, what's your passive investigation?
passive investigation. Where do I find that?
Wisdom. Passive wisdom.
Passive wisdom is
Well, no,
18.
she has a bonus to investigation, so it should be.
Oh, I do?
If you look below your stat numbers, underneath all your skills, passive wisdom perception, then it should be passive investigation. Maybe you don't have it. I don't know.
I only have passive wisdom on here.
Oh,
passive
well,
perception. But I
whatever.
do have the observant feat.
Yeah, which
Where
gives
if
you
I
like plus
see
5.
the creature's mouth while it is speaking, you can interpret what it's saying by reading its lips, but it has to be a language I understand. So
Mumbles and grunts are not a language.
Like I say, Tessie looks at this ankle and he just, Karash, we were potentially going to use this man to spread a message. You couldn't have aimed for a wrist.
There you go.
His hands were tied.
Karash is no good. Very bad.
And I'm just going to kind of look at Karash and say, we need to not torture prisoners anymore.
Yes, why don't we make it like a group rule?
We can't be torturing people, especially not when we need them for information or any further endeavors.
Ah! Fine.
I will go over and pat you on the shoulder just to make sure you're okay.
I will not. I will say, someone please get Karash his bottle. Can we now maybe turn our attention, now that he's stable, to the other pressing matter of today? If you all know what I mean, it's in the bag.
I
I'm
know.
gonna ask Len a bottle of what?
And I just say, I'll tell you later.
Actually, a baby bottle is probably, could be an anachronism here, but
Sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a distinct possibility.
And then I'm just going to say, well, I have it with me, but I don't think we... Well, I suppose we can show it off now.
Let's take
But
it
not-
away from all of the prisoners. And
Oh.
Tessie will put the blindfold back on this gnome, and he doesn't care about the ear stuff. That's weird. But yeah, Tessie is like, we should do this outside where we don't risk property damage or potentially feeding souls to some artifact. We don't know what's in this thing.
Okay. I will go outside and get ready to take the box out of the bag. Sure, it'll be fine.
Is there a clearing? Is there a spot? Can we get a good 50-foot nice clear area? No sheep, no house, no nothing?
If you want to do it in one of the grazing areas, you can, or if you want to go outside the farm exterior, you can find, plenty of open space out there.
it's funny, if I was really mean, I would have one of the prisoners do it. But,
We don't
I can't-
torture
I can't-
prisoners.
Exactly.
You open this box.
I considered it, but I don't. Again,
This is your
I
path
just-
to freedom.
If you
Open this box,
survive,
we'll say you.
It's not torture if it's voluntary.
No, but what I will say is, Grail, do you think it's worth maybe putting the rug out? We take the box out, put it on the rug, and maybe that can help if things go awry.
The rug?
The rug.
Yeah, our magical...
Well, no. I know, but what would the rug do?
Like if we open it and it starts spewing out demons, that could be a quick way to close it.
There was no conjuration magic. It was evocation and necromancy. If anything, it's more likely to explode and destroy the rug.
Explode.
All right, if we can't
Yeah,
think of any
evocation.
reason why we would want to close the thing quickly, then by all means, let's go ahead and pull it
Well,
out.
Well, instead, why don't I prepare, I can do mage hand, and if something happens, I can just shut it.
Okay, that's
Probably a
right.
good idea.
You should be able to open it from far away too. Testing is just
as long as
let's put it here. Then we're gonna take a 50 feet back or whatever you need for your mage hand, and then we're just
Yeah.
gonna let you tool with this thing and pop it open.
Okay.
And then
I'm
we'll
gonna cast bless on you before you do that.
Yeah, I want to say, is everybody ready for this? We don't know what this box is about.
I cast
Ready.
mage armor.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
guess.
pull out my guns and then be like, fine, and then just aim them. I don't know what that's gonna do, but I feel like
I don't
it's something
know.
I should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for mage hand, I need to be 30 feet away.
Can you use Mage Hand to pull it out of the bag?
I can only
No.
hold a certain weight, but probably if it's not super heavy. 10 pounds.
I think you'd have to see it though.
Oh,
I don't think your mage hand can transcend dimensions.
no.
Oh, for
I
Pete's
don't
sake.
think
I'll
so.
just reach in and grab the damn
No,
thing.
look, we could just take it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tessian's held the thing before. He can pull it out and
Yeah.
put it over there.
It's true. You guys have held it. It wasn't like the end of the world, right?
No.
Or was it?
As we know it.
And this lasts a minute, so I gotta be kind of quick about it.
It's a cantrip,
Okay.
isn't it?
Yeah, so I could technically do it again, but
Just
still.
saying.
So go ahead and make a. I don't know if you have a thieves tool check built in there for picking, but
Yeah, I do.
okay. With your mage hand, which you can just do because that's your thing.
It's my thing, y'all. Okay. 18.
So this isn't a thing you've done a ton. On occasion, perhaps, because you've started to kind of combine what you can do with your magic with your already honed thieves skills, thanks to Holden, but still doesn't take very long for you to fiddle with this. It's strange because rather than looking for a keyhole, which there isn't one, you're sort of trying to just feel in for some kind of mechanism along the brim of the chest or something that might activate it or open it in some way. And it does.
Okay.
And the second it clicks open, there is a burst of energy that ripples outward from it. Where was everyone standing? I know Grail's 30 feet away.
Yeah.
Grail also has a 1d4 for saving throws.
I think the rest of us were 50.
Probably,
I do
yeah.
think. To be fair, I would have gone next to Grail. So, fuck me. But I'm 30 feet away.
Oh,
as
well, then you would have gotten blessed too. Anybody who is dumb enough to get that close is.
Okay.
Then Grail and Isaac make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Come on, baby. Please, God, really.
And we have a plus D4, 1d4.
Yes.
Oh boy, here we go. I'm scared.
Oh!
Oh, I got a 5. So,
So 9 or less?
Dash R plus 4. 2.
and a 4.
So I got a
okay, so
15.
I got a
15
9.
And a 9.
Well, thanks, Crash. That
So-
actually did help.
You guys watch as Grail's spectral mage hand manages to fiddle with this box and, after a short moment of time, open it. And then there is this just like sonic boom sound as it bursts open, and outside of it comes this just rippling energy that seems almost divine, but tainted.
Ha! We get to be gods now. Sucks for you guys. Apotheosis.
It bursts out in this 30-foot radius, just catching Isaac and Grail in it. Everybody
God
else
damn
is
it.
standing far enough back that it's at least you can feel some of the recoil from it, but it doesn't really do anything. You both failed the saving throw
Ah.
and take.
Both? Oh, dang.
I thought I'd be good. Well, I thought it was a maybe.
La da da dee.
That is high.
La da da dee.
I only rolled a 9. I probably should have tried again.
24 thunder damage
Oh!
and 21 necrotic damage.
35. All right.
Okay.
Is anybody down?
No.
No. Thankfully, we rested.
I will rush in and after the joy has settled, and I'll give 15 for lay on hands to each one of you.
Yay.
I was down to 5 hit points.
I was down to 10.
Oh my god. I'll definitely rush up and check on you guys along with Karash as well.
So as quick as I could, I'd probably use a second wind. I don't know if it can get back to me, Chris, or...
It's fine.
Okay.
And also,
So
what
roll a
is going
D10.
on with the box?
Yeah, Tessian will just go to the box, honestly. He's just going to run up to the box. Because
So,
at this
yeah.
point, if he has to close this thing or something, it needs to happen now.
So
before-
it also knocks the two of you over, which is more for just like, painting the picture than anything else. But the blast is such a concussive, destructive wave force that it knocks the two of you over as well as it bursts out. Tessian, As Karash rushes up to them, you go over and look at the box as quickly as you can. It seems fine. It seems unaffected by the burst. Despite how strong it was, the chest appears to be unharmed by it.
Testian's gonna open it.
Oh, did it close? It closed again?
Yeah, I mean, when it fell on the ground from being basically blown open by the wave of the concussive force.
Okay.
It's not locked now, though. It's just like sitting on the ground.
So just
I would
tip
say
it. Just the lid
Tessian,
up.
no, but it's too late.
Yeah, he's Tessian, you go to open it, and a burst of it. No, it's fine. It already happened.
Oh, I was gonna freak out.
So it's 1d10 plus what for second wind?
Your fighter level, if I'm not mistaken, so 6.
Oh fuck. Okay, I rolled a 1.
Grail, I'm gonna cast level 2 Cure Wounds on you, so you get an extra +7.
Thanks.
I rolled well.
I'll do healing word as well for both of you.
Thanks, guys. What does
Yeah.
healing word do?
I'll.
Wait, why-
or maybe I
why
should do
healing?
Cure wounds would be better.
Yeah, Cure Wounds is better.
Yeah, let's do
Healing,
that.
healing words for those spots where you can't or don't want to get next to somebody, basically. As long as you can get to someone and touch them, Cure Wounds is better healing for your spell slot buck.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a D8 instead of a D4.
I did a level 3 or 2, whatever I just did. 13 healing.
Tessian is as Lena and Karash attend to Isaac and Grail, and you go over to the box. You open it up tentatively, given what's
Yeah.
just happened, hesitantly.
Sort of
Inside is what appears to be almost a purple, velvety, like fine fabric interior, and sitting in the center of it is a pendant.
I pick up Grail, lower my hand down. Once she's good, I would start to head over to Tessian.
Tessian will remove the pendant, pick it up.
Seems fine.
Inspect it.
All that's for that little thing,
You're
huh?
able to touch it.
And I'm
You
looking at it
don't
too.
immediately experience any ill effects.
Help. Look, I mean, I don't know. Shape, design, arcane runes, anything like a full investigation, arcana, anything about this thing, history. Like, does anything ring a bell? Like, why this is important? Why this had to be
You
in
can
here?
make an Arcana check.
Can I do a history check, Chris?
Sure.
Just trying to think if I ever learned about this and
Can I do any kind of check? The person who doesn't know jack about
You
anything?
could do a nature check.
Okay, that's actually what I was thinking of.
fucking god.
None of us can roll. I rolled a 9. I have a +5. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
No, I've never heard of this.
11.
I don't
Not
even know how to
great.
read. I've been lying about Tales of the Gunslinger the whole time. It's a picture book. Are you going over to it, Grail, as well, or no?
Yeah, I want to do an investigation.
Okay.
Or does that work?
Sure.
I'm gonna use both Divine Sense and Detect Magic.
I'm going to have to look at Divine Sense.
I got a
again.
26
Divine
on
Sense is
investigation.
Thank God, someone.
Divine
can
Sense is
roll.
your like class ability, right? It's a paladin or something like that?
Yeah, it's. I can read it for you. Within the radius, you detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell, and then any celestial fiend or undead.
Okay. So as I run through this litany of checks, Tessian, you can definitely sense strong magic with this, but you have no idea what, but you can definitely feel it sort of emanating from it. Isaac, yeah, you've never read anything about this whatsoever. Lena, you're not especially attuned to nature. You are to some degree because of your upbringing and your time in the Sowenwood, but you haven't spent a lot of time, especially out in the world, sort of getting a feel for the natural balance of things overall. There is still something that feels unnatural about this. And it's hard to describe much further than that. Just that as you kind of take a moment to examine it and be near it, it doesn't sit right with you, and you're not entirely sure why. It feels like something is out of order.
Okay.
Let's see. Divine Sense. It does feel as though it is an object that has been desecrated. Karash.
Okay.
And Detect Magic brings up Necrotic still, but not Evocation.
Okay.
And Grail. As you take a moment to come forward, still kind of like a high-pitched noise ringing in your ears from the blast, you recognize this pendant.
Oh, it's yours.
Whoa.
You own it.
Oh.
You wore it every day. Case solved.
It's identical to the one you have.
Oh.
Oh,
That's right.
shit.
Whoa.
Okay. Okay.
We went through all that effort.
Hey, everybody else is jumping on it, so I'm going to resolve them in
No,
order.
And I am going to like pull out the necklace that I have across. It's on my neck. With the obsidian, right?
Yes.
Okay. I am gonna do that. I'm gonna pull it out, show it, and just be like,
I don't detect the same thing on hers.
No.
Oh.
You
It
detect
is.
you detect evocation from hers.
Yeah. That is evil and some form of necromancy, and yours is some kind of evocation magic. How long have you had that?
I've had this forever. It was from in my family.
And you like wear it. Like we can see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I
So,
use
like-
it for healing.
Well, I feel stupid, but at least we have another clue.
You use it for healing with
used it-
evocation
I
magic?
used it twice.
Tessian just kind of looks at it and he's like, there are beneficial necromancy spells. It's possible this contains one. Since he doesn't know that it's desecrated, he just knows you've called it evil.
Well, that's true. I was like,
Cure wounds is an evocation spell.
oh, it is. Well, then I'm just silly.
Just to stop any conspiracy theories from sprouting from that aspect of it.
Fair
I'm
enough.
gonna
I never
ask
checked.
Tessian if I can like hold it.
Yeah, the Tessian passes it to you. I mean, clearly they're they can be held.
So Chris, did I know that there was a second one at all?
Nope.
Okay, that's what I thought. I mean,
Perhaps they're a pair.
they must be, or maybe there are more than two. But that seems unlikely. I just wonder if maybe Holden had it. I don't know. I don't recall him ever wearing a necklace. I don't know where he would have gotten it. Maybe I should ask my mom and pa.
As
Is that
you
where you got your other ones? Yours from your parents?
It was my grandmother's.
as you have a chance to have both at your disposal and look at them, especially coming off such a high investigation check, there is one difference between them. They're both made of beautiful obsidian in the center of the brooch, and you remember having it as long as you can remember. As you mentioned, it goes back for a long time. The one that was in the chest has, when you really take a close look at it and inspect it, this sort of spider-like series of ever so thin cracks in the obsidian that radiate out from the center, but don't ever make it to the exterior of the circumference of it. Just faintly in the center, it appears to have been damaged or altered or something in some way.
So I'll point that out and like kind of compare. I'm gonna take the one I'm wearing off my neck, and so we can look at them and I can point out the differences. Yeah.
Can I try to mend it? Just mend
God.
everything. Maybe that would help. Maybe that's why it's like desecrated, is because the cracks or whatever happened.
If I see you start to cast something, I'm going to be very careful. Has been touched by some sort of evil. It is not good.
And we can't fix it from that evil. I'm hesitating.
I'm gonna kind of like wave both of you, like Harash and Lena, off for a second and just say, I think I need to talk to my parents. My mother might know something about this.
And Tessian's like, well, it's certainly a conversation I'd like to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are welcome to join me. I feel like before we start doing anything to this, I should see if they have information that, we're not privy to that could really help.
What should we do about the box? Just back in the bag?
Tessin will go over, pick it up. He inspects it. Is there like a
Instruction?
is there like a
manual?
keyword? Yeah, a keyword or something on the inside of the lid, something for how to seal it properly.
No, but you can see the latching mechanism. It appears to have been made so that somebody would have to pick at it with tools. They would almost have to either know or be proficient with them to know that they could finagle around the inside, because beyond that, there's nothing on the exterior like a button or a lock or a keyhole that would seem to designate it. It could just be that for many people this was unopenable if they didn't know the right approach.
Is this is it magic? Was there a spell bound to it, or like if this locks, is it going to explode again? I
It
guess
seems that there was make an Arcana check. This is something you can just tell afterwards that it exploded, but you have a shot at it.
22.
Yeah. It seems as though what was let out when it was opened was almost like a buildup of energy that may have just come from that object existing within it over time. Best you can tell from inspecting the box, kind of seeing the point of where the energy blasted out from it, and you're somewhat familiar with magic of most varieties yourself, it appears that it was not... It's not like there's any runes attached to the side of the box on the inside or the outside. It wasn't anything that was activated or seems like it would be reactivated. It was more this energy that had been stored inside for who knows how long that once it was opened found a release point.
Well, Tessin will kind of pick up the box, and after looking at it, he just sort of closes it, and it's just like, oh, the box should be safe, but I don't think it was magical in any way, nor was it given a spell. I think whatever was in that was in there for some time. The pendant. It's possible the energies within it leaked out and built up within this. It was in there for some time, a great deal of time.
How did it get under the floorboards of my parents' ranch? And again, I'm just like, they must know something, surely.
Your brother?
Well, that seems like the obvious answer, yes, but I don't know.
Tessin thinks for a second. He doesn't say anything.
Take that.
Oh.
You guys head inside the house then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you head back inside. Your ma is putting away the last bit of like cleaning up the dishes after breakfast. Your pa is actually helping her this morning. They seem to be kind of sticking close to each other because they're a little out of sorts. And they turn around as they see all of you come back in the house.
We need to talk.
Yeah, I know.
You've brought evil into
You
this
have-
house.
What have you done? And they see that you kind of have this look on your face, and your mom says, "What happened?"
And they were part of us tearing apart the floorboards, right? Like, they know that happened.
Your ma was there for the bulk of it, and your pa was aware. He was out on the porch, but him and Isaac could overhear stuff. That's when Isaac came in at one point.
So I'll just say, I will kind of like hold them out to her, and I'll say, this one, and I like should I have weight on my hand like to explain. This was in the box under the floorboards, and this one is mine from Grandma. Do you know where this came from?
Millicent in particular seems taken aback by this. Like your father is sort of looking at them confusedly. Your mother just looks down at the two of them, kind of. You can see her eyes sort of darting back from one to the other. And she says, "How could there be two?"
What do you mean?
I mean, it's not impossible that your grandmother held something from us, but I only ever saw her wearing the one that she gave to you when you were little. And I don't... Maybe it was a common necklace, but your grandma always spoke of it having some magical powers. It wasn't just something that you could find somewhere, some trinket in a store. I don't understand how there could be two.
I will kind of just say, I've discovered that mine has healing properties. They're small, but in a pinch it can heal. This one, however, from what Karash has told me, doesn't seem to have any good powers. Something's wrong with it.
She kind of shakes her head. She says, "You know, my mother was not always the most forthcoming when it came to these things, but she said that the necklace was sort of meant to keep you safe. So I guess I'm not shocked to hear you say that, but I don't know why this other one would be here." And she's kind of like tentatively, like sort of reaching out to touch it. She doesn't.
Yeah.
And her fingers kind of touch the surface of it and run alongside a little bit. She says, "And this was in that box?"
It was indeed. So, I want to ask you a question. I'm guessing before my grandma died, she lived in the house with us briefly?
She did not.
Oh, she didn't? Had
No.
she visited the
She has
ranch?
visited the ranch.
Okay.
She never stayed
okay.
there for an extended period of time, but she had been to the ranch off and on. She was always traveling. But
Okay.
she would visit from time to time. Maybe stay for
Okay.
like a day, but not an extended time, no.
Right. I kind of feel like we would know if grandma's going at the floorboard.
Where, so
Going
yeah,
to town in a main hallway on the first floor.
but so that's like still like open, right? Like that area that we got it out of.
We didn't have time to mend it, I don't think.
Well, you did mostly. You put the dirt back in and put the floorboard back.
oh, that's
Oh,
right.
shit.
That's right.
I'm wondering, like, if Lena could do a nature check to see if the dirt had been, kind of tracing if we can find a time frame of when it was buried. Did that dirt seem
Recently.
unmoved
dirt?
for ever? Or
Yeah, like we could
Yeah.
probably tell if it was like compacted down that had been there for a while, or if somebody had just recently like dug it up and then like tried to cover over it, right?
Yeah. I don't see why not, right?
So if you make your way back over to the floorboard, pull it back up,
Mm-hmm.
because you were there when that was happening too. Go ahead and make a nature check.
Okay.
Tessian's not a part of this, by the way. Tessian's still at the table, and he's just sort of like leaning on the box and thinking.
It might just be me
16.
and... I don't know. We should decide who went, because I would go...
I'm definitely going.
Oh, you're going. Okay. I would like to do an investigation check. I don't know if it'll mean anything.
A pulse of energy comes
13.
out of the dirt.
Yeah.
Everything explodes today.
The house
crap.
explodes.
The fireballs, the destructive waves.
So I got a 13, but more importantly, Lena got a 16.
Yes.
An investigation of the area, Isaac, doesn't tell you a ton. It's been recently messed with, and a lot of that is obscuring any previous information as far as like how long before that had it been disheveled,
Right,
because
yeah.
it just was.
We're shitty archaeologists,
on a
y'all.
major high check maybe, but yeah, on that probably not. For nature, you kind of dig some of the dirt back out, let it sift through your fingers, examine the hole a bit. The dirt that is around what was recently dug up, you can just kind of tell from feeling, that you can sense inside yourself that it has not been moved in some time.
Okay.
How long, you have no idea, but it ain't
So-
recent for sure.
So I
This
could
is an
guess,
area that has
like-
been like this for years, if not decades.
So,
Okay.
We can definitely eliminate Holden then. He had
You
nothing
can't.
to do with this.
but then that just complicates things for me, because if it was connected to Holden, it would make so much sense. But how does anybody know that this is here?
Oh, my guess it has to do with your grandmother.
God damn it, Grandma.
Now, I would not bet money on it, but from what we have to go for now, that's my best guess.
You still think that all of this has everything to do with this necklace?
I hesitate to suggest this, but I feel it should be mentioned, as it is not outside the realm of believability. But we have recently come across reason to believe that there are fractures in the ability. You've seen things, Grail, things that may or may not have come true. All of us have seen things in areas, physical, visual manifestations of things that are long since passed, or maybe yet to come. I think we need to realistically consider the fact that this is not 2 amulets or brooches, but one, split in time and reburied here in the past. It would account for the buildup of evocation energy within the box. The time frame, the shattered gem in it, it was leaking for some time, Grail. Your pendant is this pendant. Or...
And this like blows my mind, right? Like, I don't actually know, like, this is outside of my realm of understanding. So I'm just kind of like looking at you mouth agape, like...
I've never heard of anything like this before. This level of whatever it is, but it would account for... It's possible you buried it here, Grail? Or someone you knew?
But I didn't. And like, I'm trying to understand. Like, I'm like...
Not
but it's
now,
really hard,
Grail,
yeah.
but you will, is what I'm saying.
It is a theory, certainly. We cannot take this as truth yet, but it's about as probable, if I'm being honest, less probable than it has something to do with your grandmother, but I won't discount it. What we've seen defies logic, so it could be.
I don't understand. And like, as I like kind of say it, I get like chills, and I'm just kind of like clearly uncomfortable about the whole discussion. Like, I want to know more, but I don't want to know more. And I kind of like back away from the spot. Yeah.
Now, does that add up? So the one we found in the box is the one that's like damaged, and the one that Grail has is like new. Beyond that, they are perfectly identical.
Yep.
Interesting.
I don't like it. It's fucked up. Anyway.
Magic can change time.
Tessian's like, well, I've never heard of any magic capable of doing it like this. It's not supposed to happen.
And I'm not, y'all, I'm not that powerful, magically speaking. I feel like the elf woman that we went up against earlier was so much stronger than me. I don't understand how it was possible.
Yet, Grail.
I don't know
if this was the truth, it doesn't matter how strong you are right now. It matters how strong you are in time.
Of greater concern to me is that it may not have anything to do with you, but that Aramia may be falling apart at the seams. And
What?
And he just kind of thinks, he's like, there's no reason for us to have seen some of the things that we've seen, or for any of this to be possible, unless time itself is weakened. If there were tears, then you wouldn't need to be powerful, Grail. No one would. Any number of things could have slipped through. Isaac, your father could be looking for this for any number of reasons. One of which could be that he's gotten his hands on information from a time he shouldn't have. These advancements he's making, the plans he's drawing up, I don't like any of this.
I don't either.
I don't know. It's probably crazy.
I don't know. More than one Tales of the Gunslinger has dabbled in time travel, and what you're saying is plausible, based on the theories that were brought forth by the author.
And
I mean, what if we tried to damage lightly the one that you have, Grail, and we can see if it has any effect on the one that we found in the box. Now, that could be doesn't tell us a lot necessarily, but it could tell us very much.
I considered it. However, we've already seen that Grail can change these visions of the future.
What does that mean exactly?
I don't think that whatever is happened or will happen is destined to happen. In fact, it's possible the reason you're seeing these things, and he kind of thinks for a second, like he hasn't really realized this before. It's like, perhaps you're seeing memories of a life that was lived.
Well, what if we scratch it? What if we just find out? That could tell us any number of things. It could tell us nothing, and time travel is still plausible. But this is just a multiverse. We scratch one here, and it changes the future, but not necessarily the future that we're going to experience.
And I'm like, hold on.
I'm telling you all, tales of the
What's a
gunslinger.
multiverse?
You know, Farm Girl Grail has no idea.
No.
Tessian's in thought about something else. Yeah, he's not really listening anymore.
Well, this is going on. I'm gonna kind of like sidle up next to Lena and do you understand any of what they are saying?
And I look up at you and say, no, I've never heard of anything like this before.
I feel better now. I'm gonna pat you on the back.
I'll pat you too.
So what if we just engrave something, Grail, on the back of the pendant? I'm not saying damage. It can be cosmetic.
I'm still kind of like clutching both of them, and I'm like holding kind of mine, or well, they might both be mine, but the one that I was wearing around my neck, and I'm very attached to it, and so hopefully a scratch won't do nothing to it, right?
No, it's not going to damage it. Make it something meaningful.
I'm gonna put like Grail was here, like WC, like
Sick bot.
Do the S thing that everybody did in grade school.
Yes, the little Satan thing, a demon springs out.
Yeah.
If we put them both down, just do the smallest scratch on one.
Yeah.
And we can see if it appears on the other one.
All right, I will do that. I'll take a dagger out that I have, and I'll just do
the poison one or the regular one?
The regular one.
Okay.
God.
I was thinking about
a divine burst of energy.
Exactly. A burst of energy.
Yeah. I'm now poisoned for life.
In all multiverses.
Yeah, exactly.
Poison.
I will just kind of like, I'm gonna hesitate. Like I'm gonna have the knife in my hand, then I'm kind of gonna put the point to it, and so right at the bottom of it, on one side. But then I will etch a very small, just like line, like a vertical line.
As soon as you push into the pendant with enough strength that it makes an impression,
nothing happens. So one is impression. Oh wait. So
you're able to carve the line successfully.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I thought you were like nothing happened
I
at
know.
all. So one has the scratch. The other one's right next to it. Nothing.
And as you look at the other one to see if it has a matching mark, the one that's already got the damaged like spider pattern in it, no change.
I'm going to take hold of the one that I just etched into and see if I can use the Cure Wounds spell.
It does. Still works.
Okay.
You heal yourself a little bit more from your earlier damage.
I know. Well, I mean, you might as well, right?
Yeah.
What is Cure Wounds? I might as well just do it.
1d8 plus
plus your
your
casting.
lousy wisdom, but hey, it's an option you have. It's more importantly, like in the case of emergencies, you know.
Yeah.
1 HP is as good as a feast if you're
Hey,
at 0.
I got an 8. Plus what? Wisdom?
Plus your wisdom, which is probably
0
not
or
much.
something?
Yeah, but again, it's an emergency option for you, and it also means that all of you have some way to heal or another.
Yep. Oh, no, I have a plus 2. All right, so I'm back up to
Okay,
full health.
so 10 more health. You clutch onto the pendant, the one that you're familiar with, and you've used this before, and you're trying to just make sure that familiar warm energy is there that you can think when you're channeling your grandmother, and it disperses like it did before. Whatever gives it its ability was not hampered by this little indentation / carving you've put on the back.
So I look to Tessian, and I don't say anything, but I'm kind of like trying to get reassurance from him. Or an explanation.
He looks up and he's like, what?
I'm just gonna say, nothing happened.
And Tessian's like, It doesn't prove anything.
No, it unfortunately doesn't. If there was a mark, that could prove a whole lot. Unfortunately, no mark could mean any number of things. It could mean Tessian is still absolutely right.
My shoulders kind of slumped. Because, like, I'm confused. Like, this isn't stuff that I've ever dabbled with at all. And I just kind of nod sadly.
About the only thing left is for us to see what the other pendant does if you decide to use it. Although I don't know that that's a good idea.
I don't even know if you should put it on in its current state.
I would hesitate to do that. I don't know what kind of powers it has. It seems rather nefarious according to what Karash was saying.
And I don't know if it'd be safe to put it back in the box because it was leaking that energy and then getting trapped in there. So that could just be another problem on its own.
I worry about wearing it or having it near us if that energy is also going to seep into us.
Tessian holds out his hand. And he's just like, at some point, someone should try.
To put it on?
Yes.
The last suit you'll ever wear. Okay, anyway.
A burst of energy.
I kind of like glance back at it and then at Tessian and I hand it to him.
Why now? Are you in such a rush to die? Can't we find more information about it first? We're going to see the Countess a day away.
And Tessian is like, I don't know. I'm concerned it might be far too terrible for us to bring anywhere else.
Well, if it
Should
is,
we-
and you prove it, doesn't do
Would
us
it not-
much good if you're dead in doing so.
Tessian's like, well, it saves more lives here than it does someplace else, doesn't it?
Why don't we just put it back in the box?
It's
For
a ticking,
now.
it's a ticking time bomb, Isaac.
Can we just throw it in the bag of holding
Just throw it
by
in the lake.
itself?
I don't know. There's a succubus head in there.
There is.
Is there a volcano
Yeah,
nearby? Any
so-
volcanoes?
I know.
Tessian will just look at Lena and give her a look like, hey, kid, good job. And then he's going to put it on.
And I'm oh no, and I look very, very concerned, and I like almost want to like reach out and stop you, but then you're already putting it on, so ugh.
There's that
Or-
moment where the quicker of you that are more dexterous react to the point where you can almost reach out, but it's much too quick to have anybody stop him.
I
And
try.
And
for
as
what
he
it's worth.
slides the necklace around his neck, that's where we'll leave off this session.
Oh my god, no.
Next time, Tessian has to make a new character, and we'll see what everybody else would like to do with their day after one of their friends dies on the Anachroschism.
No.